And I came to the conclusion that the suburban Levittowns were not feasible in the long term. They just consume too much land, too much energy, too much transportation. We have to bring people back to the city. But people prefer houses. That's why they're in the suburbs. Therefore, if we could reinvent the apartment building so that it gives you the quality of life of a house, garden, privacy, access through an open street, people will be more willing to live in cities. We evolve through contact with nature, and some of the most satisfying experience for us is being in nature, experiencing nature in one way or the other. And so if you believe that profoundly, then you make an architecture which is immersed in nature. For me, it's not that I design a building and a landscape designer makes a garden next to it. For me, you design an architecture where plant life and human life are integrated into that one thing. And of course, there's landscape architecture because it's part of the architecture. There's a whole car-free level. The car level below you, you'll see the traffic moving there. But that level will take you from the schools to decks, to playgrounds, to shopping places, car-free, and you'll be able to move right through. And there'll be the streets at the various membranes level every 4 floors. But then there'll be the continuous walkway of the roof line. between the road and the river, where the building is sort of located, very large portion of the site is not where the shops and the parking and all that, but they are open to the sky, open to the city parks. Park, a whole series of parks. And these would be not only intensively planted as green spaces, but also they could be places where food is grown. There might be patches out there, and they all face southeast and southwest as well. So they all have the ingredients of healthy plant life. So we saw this as a series of parks. And in a sense, one of the things I realized looking at experiencing the environment through the three-dimensional simulation is how much the feeling of living in a park, like you are within a park, you have when you would be living in the original habitat. A mixed-use development is one which takes all the ingredients of urban life and builds them into a singular structure. So in its simplest form, it's a shopping center with towers of residential and offices and other facilities. But in its most sublime form, it's residences with all the things that community needs, like schools and shops around them, plus places for work, offices, workshops, etc., integrated into a singular development. In contrast to what was very fashionable in the 20th century, zoning, residential in one part of the city, offices and employment in another part of the city, industry in another part of the city, all separated because the concept was you shouldn't mix different land uses in one place. This was really the result of the site. The site is gently gets narrower as you go towards the tip. And out of this condition of the site evolved what I felt was the urban scale, the intense scale, and the more village-like scale, which is where we built the final realized habitat. I saw the merits, once we started designing it, of these different scales, that one is really more village or town-like and one is more urban, but it came out of the shape of the site. housing membranes literally floating above a public domain, public realm space, consistent in their orientation, looking southeast and southwest to maximize sun exposure in Montreal, and prefabricated, and for everyone a garden, every house with its own roof terrace open to the sky. Not a balcony, a terrace open to the sky. This evolved further as I started developing the ideas how it's best to accomplish it through conventional construction, and concluded no, through prefabrications, through modular prefabrication, three-dimensional elements, pre-make pieces of the apartment in a factory and assemble it. We're seeing on one side the atrium and the hotel expanding over, meeting a residential membrane. We will see several planes of housing, each 100 or 200 apartments floating out there. It'll almost feel like they're defying gravity because these great A-frames are helping to support them. So it's almost like floating there. The quality of light and space would be extraordinary because almost unfamiliar. These structures are 20, 25 stories high, so you're like in a great cathedral space. But light is coming through. You'll see in different directions the water of the St. Lawrence River flowing there. You'll see in other direction the skyline of the city of Montreal. And under all of that, you'll see this carpet of buildings, low buildings, 3, 4 stories high, of some shops here and a school there and parking facilities. And you'll be able to walk right through, and there'll be lots of green all around you.